Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday, November 16th, 2016.
Commissioner Rivas, James, Davis, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Tim Dafera, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Jim Lantry, Engineering.
Good morning, Chris Smith, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we do not have any speaker cards under any of the items for today's agenda. No speaker cards under general public comment nor neighborhood council commentary.
Okay, then let's close general public comment and the neighborhood council category of commentary. Our first item of business, the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Wednesday, October 26, 2016. Is there a second to my motion to approve those meeting minutes? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? With that objection, we'll approve those meeting minutes. Let's take care of some admin items, and we'll go to our bids. We have a couple of stop notices. Agenda item number 15, Aggregate Material Services, has transmitted a stop notice in the amount of $44,302.07 for furnishing work, labor, services, equipment, or material to export trucking of dirt to Advantage Demolition and Grading, an apparent subcontractor, in connection with the LAPD Police Academy Replacement Training Facility project. The contractor is Kemp Brothers Construction. Is there a second to my motion that we receive number 15 forthwith? By Commissioner Jacinto and Commissioner Davis. Any objection? With that objection, we will do so. Agenda item 16, Mr. Crane Incorporated has transmitted a stop notice in the amount of $43,891.30 for furnishing crane rental and services in connection with the Hyperion Treatment Plant Digester Gas Utilization Project. The contractor is Constellation New Energy Incorporated. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 16 forthwith? By Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? With that objection, we will do so. Agenda item number 17, Babco Metal Incorporated has transmitted a stop notice in the amount of $10,247.18 for furnishing miscellaneous steel fabrication and installation in connection with the DWP Lacrette's Innovation Campus project. The contractor is USS Cal Builders Incorporated. Is there a second to my motion that we receive agenda item number 17 forthwith? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? With that objection, we will do so. We have a few assessment hearings that are going to be scheduled for hearing in council. This is agenda items 2 through 7 in council districts 7, 12, 10, 1, 6, and 14. Mr. Flamenco on the assessment hearings 2 through 7.
Ruben Flamenco, Bureau of Street Lighting. Items 2 through 6 pertain to lighting districts which we are creating in conjunction with private development projects. Item 7 pertains to a lighting district which we are creating in conjunction with the Bureau of Street Lighting initiated LED conversion project. Only public parcels are impacted. No private parcels are included in this lighting district. Ballots for items 2 to 7 were mailed on October 6, 2016. Ballots for items 2 to 7 must be received by the City Clerk's office by next Wednesday, November 23rd. We have not received any objections to date on items 2 to 7. We are requesting for the board to adopt and forward items 2 to 7 forthwith to City Council.
Any questions on items 2 through 7? Without questions on item 2 through 7, I'll make a motion that we adopt those, seconded by Commissioner Jacinto. Any objection? With that objection, we will adopt agenda items 2 through 7. Any issues sending 2 through 7 forthwith? We will send 2 through 7 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Flamenco. Agenda item number 1, bids received on 3 public works projects this morning. Mr. Campos on agenda item number 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. We will be opening up 3 bids today, November 16th. The first bid to be received and open is for the Secondary Sewer Renewal Programs, SSRP, P17 Cypress Avenue and Division Street. This is in Council District 1 and 14. The city has estimated this project to be at $4,878,500 even. The second bid that we will open is for the Street Lighting Pole Painting Project, Unit 6. This is a rebid project in Council District 1 and 15. The city has estimated this project to be at $304,350 even. And the third and final bid to be received and open is for the RRF B, that's the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, and SFS, the speed feedback signs along Temple Street, traffic signal RRFBs, and raised medians, traffic signal at Roxford and the I-210 freeway, eastbound ramps. This is in Council District 1, 7, 8, 11, 13, and 14. The city has estimated that project to be at $1,190 even. We will now begin to open the bids for the first project. The first bid received for the first project is from Ramona Incorporated for a total bid amount of $5,511,559. Let me say that again for the record, $5,511,859. That's 5511859 from Ramona Incorporated. Line item number 6 has been lined out by the contractor and initialed for the record. The second bid received for the first project is from MNR Construction Incorporated for a total bid amount of $5,435,427 even. That's 5435427 from MNR Construction Incorporated. For the record, line item 30 has been lined out by the contractor but initialed. The third bid received for the first project is from Basilch Incorporated for a total bid amount of $5,461,077 even. That's 5461077 from Basilch Incorporated. The fourth and final bid for the first project is from Kolich & Sons LP for a total bid amount of $5,905,200 even. That's 5905200 from Kolich & Sons LP. For the record, line item number 8, line item number 24, and the total bid amount has been crossed out but initialed by the contractor. President James, that concludes the bid openings for the first project. We will now begin to open the bids for the second project, which is for the street lighting pole painting project in Council District 1 and 15. The first bid received for the second project is from Street Light Restoration Specialists Incorporated for a total bid amount of $489,802 even. That's 489,802 from Street Light Restoration Specialists Incorporated. The second bid for the second project is from Color New Company for a total bid amount of $498,580 even. That's 498,580 from Color New Company. The third and final bid received for the second project is from CTG, that's Charlie Tom George Construction Incorporated, doing business as CT Georgiou Painting Company, for a total bid amount of $452,660 even. That's 452,660 from CT Georgiou Painting Company. President James, that concludes the bid openings for the second project. We will now begin to open the bids for the third project, which is for the rectangular rapid flashing beacons and speed feedback signs. This is in Council District 1, 7, 8, 11, 13, and 14. The first bid received for the third project is from Elecnor Belco Electric Incorporated for a total bid amount of $1,384,079 even. That's 1384079 from Elecnor Belco Electric, Inc. The second bid received for the third project is from KDC Incorporated, doing business as Dynalectric, for a total bid amount of $930,325 even. That's $930,325 from Dynalectric. The third and final bid received for the third project is from Ceritech Solutions Incorporated. That's SERRITEK Solutions Incorporated, for a total bid amount of $968,952.60. That's $968,952.60 from Ceritech Solutions Incorporated. President James, that concludes the bid openings for the third project and all bids for today's agenda.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second to my motion that we receive the bids this morning forthwith? By Commissioners Rivas and Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Thank you. Agenda item number 8, Council District 6, requested change order, Council District 9, agenda item number 8, requested change order number 10 for Spinello Companies, recommending that the board authorize the city engineer to issue change order number 10 to Spinello Companies for a not-to-exceed amount of $300,000 in connection with the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 3, that's Vermont to Trinity project, for the emergency response to the North Outfall Sewer failure at 41st Place and Trinity Street. Arsen Voskirchen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Arsen Voskirchen. I'm here with the Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Construction Division. And so I'm here today for our board report, which is requesting authority to issue change order number 10 to Spinello Companies for the emergency response to the NOS failure at 41st Place and Trinity Street with a not-to-exceed amount of $300,000. So to provide a little bit of background on this, this project was awarded by your board on November 13th, 2015 to Spinello to construct the NOS Rehab Unit 3 project. However, on October 6th, 2016, while the project work was proceeding at the intersection of 41st Place and Trinity, we received a call from our inspector and from the contractor notifying us of a sag in the street pavement about 50 feet away from where they were working. And so we directed the contractor to immediately close off access to the area, to close off traffic and pedestrian access, and we directed them to proceed with an emergency response. And so about an hour after we received the call, we received another call, and as you can see from photograph number 2 that's being passed around, the street had collapsed. The NOS, the sewer below it, had failed, and so the street above collapsed, creating a sinkhole. So once we investigated, we realized about 60 feet of the NOS in length had collapsed. So we notified all the parties, and we received authorization to proceed with the emergency response. And so we directed the contractor to mobilize bypass pumps, install shoring, excavate, and stabilize the situation. And so we incurred costs for doing the emergency response. Fortunately, no one was hurt. There was no injuries, no damage to property, private property. However, we incurred substantial cost in that emergency response. And so you can see in photographs number 3 and 4, that's what it looks like after the situation was stabilized. And so we're here to request the authorization to pay for that emergency response. However, this work, or the area where the collapse occurred, was within the original limits of the project. And so because of the collapse, that work had to be done right away. However, we're still going to have to make modifications to the contract because of the changes that resulted from this. The method of rehabilitation, which was supposed to be done by slip lining, was no longer possible. So it became basically an open cut repair. And so we will have to do another follow-up change order in the future to make the modifications to the contract for adjustments and any other related impacts from this.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Arsen, thank you for the great report and for the visual. It doesn't take very long for a situation to occur and to develop, so I think that the combination working with the contractor and the inspector and just having diligence to say, let's secure it, let's call, and what happened an hour later is testimony. So it's just something we got to do. Luckily, we didn't have any injuries, but that's what it's like in the field, and so this is a good thing that we should do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Anything else? Is that a motion, Commissioner Jacinto? I'll second it, along with Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 8. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 9, tree removal. This has been continued a couple of times from November 2nd, 2016 to November 9th, 2016 to today. Council District 4, 13741 West Mulholland Drive, recommending that the board first find that the project is categorically exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 3, Category 1 of the City's Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and there is no substantial evidence the proposed project will have a significant effect on the environment and is in compliance with California Environmental Quality Act. Number 2, find that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the state CEQA guidelines apply. Number 3, specify that the Bureau of Street Services Urban Forestry Division, located at 1149 South Broadway, is the custodian of the documents of other material that constitute the record of proceedings upon which the board's decision is based. And number 4, approve the request for a fee tree removal permit for 1 coast live oak tree and 16 Southern California black walnut trees due to necessary grading required for slope remediation and new home construction. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson on number 9.
President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. The Bureau was approached by Shalom Rubin, who's the applicant. He contacted the Bureau regarding the project at 13741 West Mulholland Drive. The developer's constructing a new 8,434 square foot, 2-story single-family residence on a parcel measuring 20,170 square feet. The proposed development site is located in the Mulholland Scenic Parkway with moderate to steep topography. In order to comply with the current codes and standards, the Department of Building and Safety requires all existing fill slopes and all new graded slopes to be no steeper than 2 to 1 horizontally to vertically. The property's development requires grading that impacts the property's trees. Therefore, the Department of Building and Safety informed the applicant to communicate with the Bureau of Street Services to determine what actions may need to be taken concerning the trees. The Bureau of Street Services informed the applicant to obtain the services of a Los Angeles Municipal Code defined tree expert to evaluate the project's impacts to the site's native protected trees. The applicant acquired the services of Michael Crane, registered consulting arborist. Mr. Crane's report indicates the property contains 17 native protected trees comprised of 1 coast live oak tree and 16 California black walnut trees. The specific quantities and locations are indicated in the attached site maps. All 17 of the protected trees will be directly impacted by the project's construction and grading requirements and are proposed for removal. The Bureau of Street Services reviewed the report and agreed with Mr. Crane's assessment. The Bureau arborist inspected the location on June 17, 2016, and found the trees in the property condition are as stated in the protected tree report. The Bureau agrees reasonable development of the property will require the removal of the 17 trees. Alice Roth, District Director, 4th Council District, and the Community Forest Advisory Council were all notified of the proposed removals, and at this time we have heard of no objections. The applicant shall plant 4 5-gallon container-sized California black walnut trees grouped in groups of 4, 2 36-inch box-sized coast live oak trees and 2 24-inch box-sized coast live oak trees on site to replace the removed trees. The survival of the tree replacements shall be guaranteed for a period of 3 years by bond. If the board approves the protected tree removal, the tree removal permit shall be issued by BSS upon notification of the Bureau of Engineering that the bond has been posted. Upon issuance of the protected tree removal permit, the Bureau shall be notified a minimum of 10 days prior to the day of the protected tree removal shall occur. The applicant's tree expert shall be on site the day of the tree removals to ensure the proper trees are removed. A Bureau arborist will arrange an on-site meeting with the applicant or their tree expert the following day. The protected trees are removed. The applicant, in conjunction with the project's landscape architect or tree expert, shall be responsible to ensure the tree removal permit tree replacement conditions are in compliance. Replacement tree planting shall follow the landscape plan to the fullest extent possible. The Bureau shall be notified no later than 5 days after the completion of the tree replacements. A Bureau arborist will make arrangements to visit the site and approve the tree replacements as being in compliance with the permit conditions within 5 working days of the notification of the planting completion. The Bureau shall be notified immediately if any permit conditions have been violated or cannot be fulfilled. Failure to comply with this requirement may result in fines or legal actions. With the amount of grading that needs to take place, and there is a wall that needs to be put in next to Sevy Lane, which is the lane that is a common lane used that comes off of Mulholland Drive, and it's the driveway for a few of the homes that are up in this area. And next to Sevy Lane, which is a private street, this is where most of the walnuts are all next to this on a hillside, and they give you a solid screen of greenery. Even though the trees are deciduous and they lose their leaves, the Algerian ivy that's growing up into the trees stays green year-round, which gives you this green screen, and the trees all look like they're doing superlative as far as their vigor and whatnot, but they're actually fair to poor condition trees. So the replanting of the walnuts will be in the same general area once the wall has been built, which will help hold the, I guess the property is slipping a little bit on the slope, so they need to put this wall in this one spot, and that's where most of the trees are located. So due to that, it will require the trees to be removed, and the notice of exemption was done by the City of Los Angeles Department of City Planning, and it has reviewed.
So when you say notice of exemption, you mean categorical exemption related to CEQA?
That is correct,
Okay,
President
go ahead.
James. And so the finding was reviewed. All of the trees are listed into the findings and have been considered as part of what the findings need to be. And with the replacement trees, we feel that it is a categorical exempt or notice of exemption.
So regarding the tree replacements, these are protected trees,
Yes,
and so it's a 4-to-1?
yes,
Are we added up to 4-to-1 on site?
yes. We are planting 64, I believe it said, 64 5-gallon container size Southern California black walnuts, and 2 36-inch box and 2 48-inch box, I believe it said, or it might be 2 24-inch box. Anyway, that's 68 trees.
Okay. Thus the 17 times 4?
Correct.
Commissioners, Mr. Campos, are we missing a number?
Yeah, Mr. Tyson, can you just repeat those numbers? I just want to make sure that the conditions stated in the report on page 2 are accurate as you entered into the oral record.
Tree removals, okay, let me find the replanting condition.
So I have the 64 5-gallon container-sized trees and then 2 24-inch box-sized coast live trees on site to be replaced.
And 2 36-inch box size Coast Live Oaks. That's 68 trees.
I'm not seeing the 36-inch, so you... Oh, that's on page 4. So on page 2, the conditions are missing the 2 36-inch boxes. So the recommendation to the board is to approve as amended to reflect that the conditions stated on the
So we'll just
report
move the
are correct.
condition up to the recommendation?
You are correct, Mr. Tyson. I do see the 2 36 inches
Yeah,
now.
okay. All right, so we're all square?
That was me.
Okay. Thank you. Commissioner Jacinto?
Tim, I just had a question. Can you answer why we're kind of held this over for 2 weeks? Were we working out something?
Yes, the Bureau would like to apologize for last week. There was a communication error and no one showed up for the board report. That comes back to me. Prior to that, President James moved it to the last week, and
I'll
there was-
answer that one, but go ahead.
and there was a communication error, and so we apologize to Mr. Shuki for that, but I think he'll be happy that finally he's going to get his permit to do what he's been waiting quite some time to do.
So Commissioner Jacinto, to answer your question regarding last week, there was, like you said, a communication error between attendees available to present. The reason I continued it the first week was because of an inquiry that we received from outside as to whether or not the planning documents were compliant with CEQA. So I had the Bureau to speak to that person and do the follow-up to ensure that the CEQA process was compliant, which the Bureau determined it was, and they haven't come back with an objection. So.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Okay. Anything further on agenda item number? It's in Council District 4.
Correct.
Anything further? I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 9, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 9. Any issues, sending it forthwith? We'll send number 9 forthwith. Thank you, sir. Agenda item number 10, Council District 4, Contract Amendment, Los Angeles Conservation Corps, recommending that the board authorize the Office of Community Beautification to execute a contract amendment with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps in the amount of $100,000 for supplemental community beautification services to be provided in Council District 4 during fiscal year 2016-17. Mr. Roch on number 10.
Good morning. Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification, requesting board approval for an amendment to an existing contract that we currently operate with the Los Angeles Conservation Corps. LACC is a nonprofit community-based organization which provides numerous cleanup and beautification services on a citywide basis. Among these are the Clean and Green program, which hires Los Angeles area youth between the ages of 14 and 17. The Office of Council District 4, Councilman Rue, has indicated that there is an additional need in the district for enhanced graffiti abatement, alley cleanup, weed abatement, litter cleanup, and other supplemental community beautification services beyond the initial funding levels provided by OCB. Therefore, Councilmember Rue has directed the transfer of $100,000 from the CD4 portion of the Street Furniture Revenue Fund to the Board of Public Works Contractual Services account to fund these additional services for the current fiscal year. Los Angeles Conservation Corps has coordinated various community beautification efforts utilizing youth hired specifically from the district to provide these services. Again, funding has been already transferred into the board's contractual services account, and approval of this item will allow OCB to amend an existing contract to provide these requested services.
Thank you. Any questions on agenda item number 10? I don't have any questions at all. Commissioner Santos made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 10, seconded by Commissioner Rivas. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 10. Any problem sending it forthwith? We can send number 10 forthwith. Number 11, Mr. Rocher here as well, contract amendment with Graffiti Control Systems, recommending that the board authorize the Office of Community Beautification to execute a contract amendment with Graffiti Control Systems to increase the ceiling amount of the contract by an amount of $40,000 and authorize the Department of General Services to piggyback on an existing contract that the Office of Community Beautification administers with Graffiti Control Systems. Mr. Roch on number 11.
Good morning again. Paul Roch, Director of the Office of Community Beautification. Graffiti Control Systems is one of the contractors, existing contractors under contract with the Office of Community Beautification. They are a privately owned company located within the city of Los Angeles and provides specialty graffiti abatement services that regular OCB contractors are not able to provide. This includes services such as graffiti abatement from murals, application of protective coatings onto murals, high elevation graffiti removal, and other sort of services required as funded. 100% of the employees hired by Graffiti Control Systems under contract with OCB are residents of the City of Los Angeles. By previous board action, the board has authorized OCB to amend the contract to allow the Bureau of Street Services to piggyback on the OCB contract with Graffiti Control Systems to provide graffiti removal in 5 high-impact tunnels located throughout the city. We have now been requested by the Department of General Services to also allow them to piggyback on the existing OCB contract with Graffiti Control Systems to provide specialty abatement in the area, specifically around City Hall. This request does not involve any public works money. Rather, we're requesting authorization just to increase the ceiling amount of the contract so that General Services can make payments to Graffiti Control Systems under this contract authority. A few months ago, when there were the Black Lives protesters around City Hall, there was a lot of graffiti that was placed on the sidewalks, on the walls of City Hall. And Graffiti Control Systems at that time provided $16,000 worth of service cleaning graffiti from sidewalks, and also then steam cleaning the sidewalks at the request of the General Services Department. Last week, City Hall was again the target for a lot of graffiti with other protests, and Graffiti Control Systems was again called in to provide specialty graffiti abatement services. One day they actually had 7 crews out here for a couple hours removing graffiti from the steps and the Spring Street side of City Hall and several of the palm trees that are located right outside these windows. By allowing the Department of General Services to piggyback on this OCB contract, they will be able to make payment for these services provided by Graffiti Control Systems, and we respectfully request board approval for this item.
Thank you for the summary, Mr. Raj, very helpful. Commissioner Davis?
Yes, we've had to respond to numerous incidences of graffiti on City Hall in particular. And in terms of the individuals that are doing this, do we know, even though it's not directly related to the authorization here, but are these folk getting cited for defacing City Hall? Because I know you did it again, you did it earlier last week on the more recent ones.
Yeah, I do know that some folks were cited or arrested for vandalism. I'm not sure if that was specifically for vandalism that was on the steps of City Hall, or I mean there was a lot of other tagging and stuff that was going on throughout the downtown areas. The marches went through, a lot of light poles, a lot of traffic control boxes, a lot of private property. So I don't know specifically whether anybody was detained or arrested for the graffiti on City Hall itself.
Yeah, even if they're not arrested, if they're cited, probably is something that mightn't necessarily be appropriate. And I know that there's a bill that authorizes judges to be able to assign people who deface property like that to come and be responsible for 1 year to clean that area up, so that in fact we could, if we cited these individuals, we could have them assigned to come to help you for free to replace the appropriate materials to City Hall for a whole year.
Right.
And so we might want to pursue that as free help, along with, doesn't take away our responsibility to fund your effort, but I mean hopefully they could be supervised by you. But I think it's important that while we are approving this, that people don't think that it's okay, certainly not to deface City Hall or any other property, but definitely City Hall.
Right.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Anything further? Is there a motion on number 11 by Commissioner Davis? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 11. Thank you, Mr. Raj. Any problem sending it forthwith? We'll send number 11 forthwith. Number 12, Bureaus of Engineering and Contract Administration in Council District 14, a requested contract award for the Secondary Sewer Renewal Program Lorena Street and Whittier Boulevard, recommending that the board declare Ramona Incorporated the first low bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award them a contract for the project for $2,633,276 and authorize myself or two members of the Board of Public Works to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained by the city attorney. Mr. Pedroza.
Good morning. My name is Richard Pedrozo with the Bureau of Engineering, Wastewater Conveyance Engineering Division. This SSRP N09 project proposes to remove and replace or rehabilitate approximately 3.1 miles of sewers ranging in diameters from 6-inch to 15-inch. This project is located in the Boyle Heights area, which is in CD 14. The city engineer's estimate was $2,767,000 and $900. I'm sorry. And on September 28th, 4 bids were opened. Ramona Inc. was the first low bidder at $2,633,276. Ramona Inc. has complied with all the required outreach on LA Babin. They've met their MSM requirements. Their business inclusion program percentages are as follows: MBE 0.77%, WBE 0%, SBE 5.67%, EBE 5.67%, and OBE at 19.4%. This project met all of the environmental requirements. Ramona is a local business certified contractor. However, that didn't play in the bid evaluation. So with that, staff recommends award to Ramona Inc.
Questions for Mr. Pedroza? Commissioner Jacinto.
Thank you, President James. Rich, thank you for the report today and the recommendation. You know, looking at the scope of work, and this is a constant, SSRP is a constant project area that we have, and over the course of the last 5 years, Ramona, the contractor in this case, has been awarded almost $28 million.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Of work. And you know, the total MBE and WEB over the course of that is really kind of less than $500,000 and 1.55 and 0.05, 1.6, right, if you will. And I think that this is an opportunity for us to communicate to them. We may have raised this before about Ramona as an LB, which is great. Trying to do better and strive better for better numbers, maybe WEB. But I would also want to sort of support our colleagues, Commissioner Davis and Repenning, as we do our business advisory committee to really find out in the industry how we can get more diversity for these types of programs as their core public works projects. And as we build our infrastructure up, it might be an opportunity for us in the future. Hopefully, we should be progressive and try to understand what are the limitations, what are the barriers. Good faith is good faith, but I think that with as much resources goes out in these contracts, correct, we can and should do better in terms of our BIP, our business inclusion program numbers.
We look forward in collaborating with you on that. Certainly.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacinto. Commissioner Davis.
And how much did we have to the business inclusion program that we pledged originally?
The anticipated levels are 4% for MBE, 2% for WBE, SBE 25%, EBE 8%, DVBE 3%, and OBE 0%.
So for SBE, our pledge was, our estimate was 25%.
That's correct.
We thought, and we ended up in reality getting 3%.
I quoted, actually I listed 5.67%. That's in the board report, Commissioner.
Oh, okay, yeah. Maybe I'm on the wrong page. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. So in terms of the results that we got, do you have any knowledge of our results and how we got them?
Well, as listed in the board report, the prime, Ramona, again, they've bid listed Flex Connection, DBA Joints, and also Underground Builders. They construct maintenance holes for these projects. They were the ones that they reached out to and were able to bid competitively in order to be bid listed.
Could you explain to me the 0.77% minority business enterprise? Could you describe for me how that takes place, the 0.77%? What does that mean?
Well, the prime again, Ramona, they outreach to, I'm assuming you're referring to Flex Connection Incorporated, DBA joints.
Okay.
Through Bavin, they outreach to this particular subcontractor.
Okay.
And they submitted their bid, and their bid was for the amount of $20,291.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further on agenda item number 12? Thank you both, Commissioner Jacinto and Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Davis has made a motion that we adopt agenda item number 12. I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 12. Can we send it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Pedroza. Agenda item number 13, Bureau of Street Services and Street Lighting for Council Districts 8 and 10. Tree trimming for street lighting illumination in the parkways of 87th Street from Western Avenue to St. Andrews Place and certain other streets, recommending that the board first reject all bids for the project and authorize the Bureau of Street Services to re-advertise the project for bids to be received on December 14, 2016. Mr. Interiano, on the recommendation from the City Attorney's Office for the rejection of the bids.
Good morning. My name is Mario Interiano. I'm with the Bureau of Street Services, Financial Management Division, Contract Section. As recommended in our board report, we are requesting that the board reject all bids due to the fact that after checking the location list included in the bid package, both on Bavin and in the Urban Forestry Division office, staff determined that there was a discrepancy between the number of trees on the schedule of work and prices at 3,824 trees, and the location list had 1,991 trees. Both figures were advertised as part of the bid package, and the correct number should have been 1,991. 3 of the 4 bidders based their bid amount on the higher number listed in the schedule of work and prices. The 4th bidder based their bid at the lower number, which resulted in a significantly higher bid amount for the 3 bidders who used the larger number to calculate their bids. In light of this discrepancy, the Bureau consulted with the City Attorney, who advised that in order to be fair to all bidders, that the contract opportunity should be rebid. For that reason, staff is recommending that the board reject all bids for this project and re-advertise this contract.
Any questions regarding agenda item number 13? Commissioner Davis? Okay. Mr. Jordan, on agenda item number 13, you concur with that statement as set forth in the board report?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 13 so we can get going again. Second by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we will do so. Any problem sending it forthwith? And I understand there was something that I am supposed to mention, and Mr. Campos is going to remind me of what that is. I told you I would forget.
The motion on the table is still a good motion. Just for clarification and just for the record, the new advertisement, the total cost, the city has estimated the project to be at $268,785. It is reflected on transmittal number 2. It does not change your motion. It does not change the board report. But just for clarification and just to put it out on the record, the new bid amount is $268,785.
And that's the correct city estimate on that?
That is correct.
Correct, Mr. Interiano?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Campos. Without objection, then let me redo the motion. So I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 13, seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt number 13. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send it forthwith. Thank you for the clarification. Mr. Interiano is here on number 14, Street Services, Street Lighting, and Contract Administration for Council Districts 4 and 7. Tree trimming for street lighting illumination in the parkways of Sankola Avenue from Moore Park Street to Riverside Drive and certain other streets, recommending that the board award a contract for $252,217 to Thrifty Tree Services, the lowest responsible bidder for the trimming of 1,949 trees in the parkways of the streets listed above. Second, authorize myself or two board members to execute the contract for the project after approval as to form by the city attorney has been obtained. 3, instruct the executive officer of the board to immediately advise Thrifty Tree Services to submit their bonds and insurance documents within 5 working days after the date of notification of award of the contract by the board. And 4, instruct the executive officer of the board to immediately advise Thrifty Tree Services that work on the project must start within 5 working days from the date of the issuance of the notice to proceed. Mr. Interiano on number 14.
Thank you. Yes, again, the Bureau is recommending that you accept this, or that you award this contract to Thrifty Tree Trimming. This tree trimming contract will provide for the trimming of approximately 1,949 trees in the parkways of the subject streets for a total bid amount of $252,217. The estimated project cost was $262,170, which is just roughly 3% below the estimated price. The bidder, as they submitted their bids, were determined by the Bureau of Contract Administration that they are a certified local business enterprise. Additionally, this project was advertised with anticipated participation levels of 18% MBE, 4% WBE, 4% SBE, 4% EBE, and 4% DVBE. Based on a review submitted by Thrifty, it was determined that the contractor pledged a participation level of 4.01% MBE and 0 for the remainder. They did comply as well with the business inclusion program outreach requirements, as well as the mandatory subcontracting minimum, which was set at 4%.
Thank you, Mario. Any questions on number 14? I don't have any questions either. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 14. Seconded by Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 14. They can get started on that. We'll send number 14 forthwith. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I believe we have an oral report remaining. Tim DeFetta and David Kopp, Digester Gas Utilization Project Quarterly Status Report. It appears Mr. DeFetta is going to go first.
Yes. Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Executives, Mr. Jordan and Mr. Campos. My name is Tim DeFetta with the Bureau of Sanitation, and I'm here with David Kopp from Bureau of Engineering to make our presentation on the Digester Gas Utilization Project at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. This is a project that we're extremely proud of. It's a project that would enable us utilize our own biogas on site to generate our own electricity and steam to power the plant and heat up our digesters. Tremendous progress has been made on this project. We've worked cooperatively with Bureau of Engineering and Bureau of Contract Administration as well as the contractor to move this project forward. We're getting towards the end of this project. We're now in the commissioning phase. Most of the major construction is done. We're beginning to commission the different major equipment systems, and after that we'll go into performance testing for 30 days. With that, I'll turn it over to Dave Kopp, who's going to go through the details of the project and the current status, and then we'll be available to answer your questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Tim. Good morning. David Kopp, Bureau of Engineering, Environmental Engineering Division. I'm following the similar format I have in previous quarterly updates, so I'll go ahead and work from those handouts. I'll start with the background slide, which some of you may be familiar with, others not. So this project is a design, build, operate contract where we're going to be utilizing an existing facility and rebuilding it to create a 27 megawatt digester gas cogeneration facility, which means that this will provide the energy needs for the plant, not just electricity, but for steam, which is used to create more biogas, which is then used to generate more steam and power. This project, the contract was delivered by Bureau of Sanitation, and in partnership with engineering, we've been tasked with the design and construction management aspects of the project. The prime contractor is Constellation New Energy. They are the development arm of their parent company, the Exelon Corporation, who will come and operate the facility for a period of 10 years after the construction work has been accepted by the city. Moving to the project schedule slide, we are, as of today, we're 1,001 days into the project, which is past the original contract duration of 987 calendar days, leading to what we're calling commercial operation as defined in the contract. Although this is a projected delay in the project, there hasn't been any clear or flat-out stoppage of work, and the contractors made every reasonable effort to double up shifts and work night shifts where appropriate, where we're not impacting residents or the plant. That being said, the scheduled start of commissioning was pretty much on schedule, which was September 2016, which we reported in the previous quarterly update. And we have a scheduled first fire movement from October of this year to January, and this is when all the subsystems leading and supporting the combustion equipment, the combustion turbines, are complete, and we're ready to start commissioning the combustion turbines. And then, as I mentioned, the commercial operation period will be 10 years after we've accepted the project. I should also mention the current end of the DWP Hyperion Energy Agreement ends at December 31st of this year. It expires, but as of last week, I understand the board's approved sanitation request to extend that agreement another 6 months pending the DWP's approval, which will buy the project some time to be in reliable commercial operation, which I think is an appropriate extension of time in order for this project to be ready for commercial operation.
When do we expect DWP approval of that?
Beginning of December, first.
December?
Yeah.
Okay. I know they don't meet as regularly as we do.
I don't want to quote it. I think it's roughly around December 8th, somewhere thereabout.
Right. Thank you. Go ahead, David.
Moving on to the summary of progress, I'm reporting 86% this quarter. It's an incremental increase, but I want to make sure that the remaining 10 or so percent is dedicated to tracking the progress of startup, because this is a very complex facility. And in terms of the schedule, there are many activities leading up to final acceptance, and a lot of those are commissioning activities. So I think it's appropriate to report around 86% at this time. All major utilities have been connected, so this includes our connection with the gas company. The DWP interconnect agreement was reached this quarter, which was a major milestone for the project. This dictates how this power plant is going to connect with the rest of the power plants connected to the grid of that local area. This also includes the cooling water systems, which Hyperion is providing cooling water through the recycling of secondary effluent and will be used for the project. That is ready to go, as well as the fuel gas systems, which are upstream of DGUP, are also complete and ready to support the project. All major equipment in terms of the combustion turbines, the steam turbines, the boilers, and the major ancillaries, the heat exchangers, we have steam cycle equipment and gas treatment and conditioning systems. These are all completed and they're ready to commission once we have provided, we've energized that area, which I'll get into in the progress of work slides in a couple pages here. Startup of some of the beginning subsystems, such as the industrial air, which we'll use to control and operate equipment pneumatically. Those have been complete and tested and accepted. The turbine and compressor oil systems are completed and started up, as well as the intermediate and high pressure gas piping, which will be used to convey gas through the combustion system and the power plant itself, as well as the early stages of the plant control systems, which is the brain functioning of the facility. And then the next few slides are pictures I like to include showing the progress of the work. The first is for the power generation area. It's really hard to get one picture showing everything in there. There's a lot to see, and of course we invite you guys to come and visit anytime you'd like to check out the progress of the work, especially at this next quarter will be a very exciting phase of the project. But I wanted to focus on the east side of the room, showing the roof of the electrical room, which is being built out as we speak, and all the electrical subsystems are being installed and conduits run, sometimes in double shifts in order to recover schedule time on the project. And then you can see toward the south wall there, the giant exhaust piping that's ready to poke through the east wall and connect with the main stack. The next slide shows progress made of the compressor building. Pretty much all the internals of that building have been completed, as I've shown in previous updates. So this shows the giant air handling units that are on site. on top of the building to ensure that the facility doesn't operate in any potentially hazardous atmospheres. The next slide shows the progress made of the main transformers for the facility, which we'll be using to backfeed and start commissioning the subsystems over the next quarter. And then once those are energized using grid power, we will then be able to commission the turbines and then actually go the other way and feed these transformers with our power generation equipment and be able to sustain Hyperion using power generated in-house. The next slide, although it looks a bit busy, the top left corner shows the progress as reported in August of this year, and behind it is a snapshot of the progress made as of November this month. Noting on the top right there the massive air handling units on top of the compressor building for the build out of process piping and electrical work supporting the gas treatment and conditioning systems, which you'll notice on the lower half of the picture. And unlike a conventional natural gas firing power plant, biogas is a little dirtier, so we have additional systems to make sure that this gas can be run sustainably through our system without causing any unforeseen damages or unforeseen shutdowns of the facility. So it's a robust system, and we're looking forward to starting it up in the next quarter. The last picture shows on the left side, like with our cars, we have air intake systems, and so do these turbines, but obviously magnitude's bigger. And so the wall has been modified to accommodate the air intake of this size. And on the right side of that slide, you see a very similar technology that's being used at the satellite treatment plants for advanced water purification. We're incorporating the same technology to make sure that the steam cycle equipment has water to a quality that won't damage the systems in the long term and create unnecessary shutdowns. In summary, the planned work for next quarter will be to wrap up the electrical work that's typical on a project of this nature. Some of the last systems that and pieces of equipment you'll be installing will be electrical related. So we're doing our conduit runs, we're doing our loop checks where the inspector checks from end to end to make sure that these wires are going to operate safely and to the project specifications. And then we'll continue commissioning subsystems of a higher importance than the current subsystems, which not to downplay the progress so far, but the next level of subsystems are going to be a little more complex in terms of starting up. And those include the cooling water system, which we're just on the cusp of starting up, as well as the boiler feed water system, which is used for the steam turbine and generating steam for the digesters, and also the gas treatment and conditioning systems, which I showed on the second to last picture there. The heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, and the life safety systems also need to be commissioned and demonstrated to authorities having jurisdiction, such as fire department and building safety, that they're ready to go before we start the facility. The next two slides are exact to the last quarterly report, is reporting on the status of DGUP and companion projects. And these range from projects such as modernizing the plant's existing cooling water system, the existing gas treatment systems upstream of DGUP, which the plant has been operating for a number of years and have been upgrading over the last couple years. And of course, interface upgrades to how we interface with the grid. So making sure that when we're generating power, that we're generating it in the same synchronous method as the rest of the grid. And that's without going into too much of the details there. There's definitely some equipment that needs to be in between the grid and the DGUP facility, namely the Hyperion treatment plant as a whole. The second to last slide is our utilization to date on M&WBE. The numbers continue to increase, and I expect, based on the latest status reports from the contractor, that these numbers will hold well above 3% and 4% respectively over the next quarter update and hopefully through the acceptance of the project. So that's good news. I think we've doubled the numbers for MBE so far, and so happy to report those figures.
How much is the overall project? Is it a $384 million project?
Well, the design build component, including executed change orders to date, is $138,167,000. The operations component of that is another, I believe, $200,000 or so. But I can follow up with those numbers.
What was the question? Well, my question was, what is the anticipated budget for this project, the DGUP project?
So on the
Just a general figure.
Yeah. So basically, on the capital side, which is the 138,167. And then after that, the contractor will operate the facility for 10 years. And roughly, we're looking at about 5 to 7 million when you add chemicals and everything else per year in terms of operations. And when we looked at in terms of payback, it's extremely great for us in the sense that if we were to purchase the same power, we're looking at somewhere about $20 million a year.
20 million a year.
Yeah. So.
And so in terms of the infrastructure that we have invested in thus far, you said that's about ballpark figure of how much?
Yeah, with all the allowances and everything, it's about 138,167, right?
Yeah.
About 138 million.
Yeah, I was about to go through the last slide to kind of give a summary there. So the original contract is 127,302,000, which includes about 6 million in allowances to handle unforeseen conditions and hazardous materials abatement. As we are reusing an existing facility built some decades ago, those requirements have changed, and so that accounts for those unforeseens and waste materials remediation. In addition to that, I went before your board in October 2015 to ask for additional contingency funds to handle some additional unforeseen conditions related to the cooling water quality, the potable water quality is used for the steam cycle equipment, and the changes during the negotiations of the air permit that was not in place at the time the contract was executed. And so at this point, we're projecting we're going to need additional funds, and as I indicated in the last quarterly update, we had a number of requests for additional compensation from the contractor. As of today, we're still working through those issues. There's a number of them. There haven't been any flat-out denials of any to date. I know we've been working with the city attorney's office closely on a couple items, but I just want to let you know from degree of assurance that there's been no flat-out denial on any of those issues, and we continue to discuss at the table and try to understand the basis of the contractor's position on a number of these requests for change order.
And financing, I had some questions. Now, this is the largest project that the Department of Public Works has out right now. Is that pretty accurate?
Aside from
I thought it was.
potentially some bridge improvement projects.
The 6th Street Bridge is larger. I thought this was the largest.
For wastewater, definitely.
Okay, I see. So 138 million into the economy is major, is huge, and it looks like that we're on budget and on time according to your schedule for the implementation of these improvements and construction of this project.
Well, actually, the contracts currently has a commercial operation deadline, which was November 2nd of this month. So we are a little behind in the project. I expect us to be in commercial operation within the first quarter of next year.
I see.
And so in turn, the extension of the DWP agreement, I think, is appropriate for a 6-month extension. We should be ready to operate and generate power within that time frame.
Okay.
And of course, with these changes, we continue to meet on a weekly basis, if not more. And with all of our projects, we always make sure that any changes, claimed by a contractor, whether it's a request for change order or a claim, these have to be substantiated and backed up with appropriate documentation. So, in other words, they can't just give us a dollar amount and follow up with just a box of receipts and leave it up to us to sort it out. There's a specific process in place for us to negotiate those impacts. And so when the time comes to return to your board, I'll make sure that we only ask for the budget that's appropriate and that is justified by any changes or unforeseen conditions over the course of the project.
I wanted to say, as it relates to financing, I appreciate the effort, and I know how difficult it can be when we are dealing with subspecialty areas for professionals when we talk about inclusion, business inclusion. And the last time you were here, we talked about that, and it looks as if you've made some new involvements or inclusions, or at least you've captured it, and I want you to know that that is appreciated. When I look, though, at the 138 million that we're putting into the economy, continued work in this area would be greatly appreciated.
Absolutely.
To the extent possible. I know that often we say again that these subspecialty areas don't have a lot of minorities, but sometimes when we go back and try to twist the turnip, we still can create a miracle, if you want to call it that, by increasing the inclusion. So I cannot underscore how critically and important it is for us not only to do a good job in terms of the construction and to realize and appreciate what DGUP will do for the operations there at Hyperion, but equally to understand what it will do for the economy and what it will do for our small business community if we are able to assess this project in a way that we make that a priority.
Absolutely. And I know the contractors made every effort for apprentice utilization, so which might not be tracked on this report here. There have been instances where the union halls have been cleared on certain days because they've been doing that appropriate outreach. And so in conjunction with CONAD and OCC, those efforts are continuing to be made at every effort for outreach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner Rivas.
Thank you for this detailed report, and I'm looking forward to visiting when it's, sometime soon. It says that the scheduled first fire is in January. How long will it take for you to know that there's no additional delays after that first fire?
That will be a good indication, because leading up to first fire, that will be using pure natural gas, which is allowed in the air permit in that specific activity of startup. Once we're in commercial operation, there's only a certain amount of mixture of pure natural gas we can use. But long story short, once we fire those up with pure gas, that's when we'll be able to fine-tune the turbines and determine if there are any issues involved. These turbines have a direct communication line with their vendors, so the vendors will be able to track, as far as their performance guarantees, warranties, what have you. You'll have that third-party support. And so as far as being able to tell from that point forward if the project will be delayed, it'll be a clear indication whether or not those turbines are having any issues. They'll probably be tuned over the course of a couple weeks, and at that point we'll be able to determine what kind of delays we may be looking at in that kind of scenario.
Thank you. Commissioner Cinto.
Really quick, thanks, President James. Tim and Dave, thank you for this great report. We're coming down to it, right? The 85%. Next quarterly report says we're done, we're off the grid, and it looks great. I wanted to appreciate you both, and Dave, as you said, continue to do the due diligence in terms of all the requests and working with the contractor to make sure that we're justifying everything and that we're delivering this project as close to budget as possible.
Absolutely.
We have every confidence that you'll continue to do that. And 6 months is not going to probably be the case for the extended contract too. So we're looking at next quarter to really get this thing going and getting off the grid. So thank you very, very much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. David and Tim, I would just request that as you have these negotiations with the contractor and the city attorney, would you, the two of you or either of you and whoever the lead is in the city attorney's office, whether it's Mr. Jordan or someone else, meet with me so I can get an update on how the negotiations are going when you think it's the appropriate time to involve me.
Sure.
Okay? But not at the very end.
Sure.
Okay? Thank you. So the oral report will be received. And Mr. Campos, have we cleared the desk?
Yes, you have.
Okay, thank you, guys.